Hello and welcome to Merciful Love. If you are new to this community, this channel is about self-improvement through inner healing. We try to share our insights, psychology, spiritually, all those things to try and heal ourselves and be better humans and try and lead more healthy and productive lives. So if you're new, you're welcome, and you're free to add onto the topics because we are here to help each other. There's no conclusion in anything. We are just having a discussion, and you're most welcome. And for the people who have been encouraging me and sharing their insights, thank you so much. I really appreciate your input. I really appreciate the encouragement and all that. So today, I want to talk about Mr. Fear, and I'll start with a story. In 2010, I was working as a pump attendant at a petrol station. For those who are not from Kenya, in Kenya we have gas stations where there are attendants, there are people who now fuel your car for you and then you pay them. And I was pretty young. We were talking about more than 10 years ago, yeah. And I think I was the youngest in that forecourt, in that station. So during that period, there was the issue of Al-Shabaab happenings. There were a lot of those things happening. And I remember clearly that day because there was an eclipse. I don't remember the date, but I remember there was an eclipse. And there had been rumors that the Al-Shabaab were targeting petrol stations, that they were targeting to attack or bomb petrol stations because petrol stations were more flammable and it will be, the effect will be more. So during that time, I didn't even know that information really got to me, and I was just fearful the entire time. And this specific day, I remember there was an eclipse and it was kind of cold. So we were just standing there. It was a slow day. It was morning and we were just standing there. So, there were like 3 pumps. So everybody used to have their own pump. So there was one of my colleagues who was called Nancy, was on pump 1. Then Gideon was in pump 2, and then I was in pump 3. But now, I was in pump 3. So I remember that morning my supervisor and my manager were standing at the parking lot. They were talking there at the parking lot. And so basically that was the setup. Nancy was fueling a car in pump 1. Gidi was just standing on his pump 2. And then at that time, I got a client on my pump 3. So as I looked around now, my manager and supervisor were standing at the parking lot. So this specific vehicle was the Noah type. It is. I don't know if it's Toyota Noah or something. So where their fuel tank is, so where you're supposed to fuel. So I was fueling. So as I was fueling, I happened to turn. And when I turned, I saw Gidi run towards the office. And at the same time, I saw my supervisor Dan run and there was a matatu which had parked near pump 1, near Nancy's pump. So I saw Dan, now my supervisor, run and get inside the matatu on the driver's side. And then Ahmed, my manager, ran into the cafeteria. So it was just a split of a second. Like everything was happening in a split of a second. So I just turned. Gidi is running, Ahmed is running, and Dan is running. So what did I do? I decided to run too. And so stupid. So I ran, I started running. So the driver who was standing next to me was asking me, like, what's happening? What's happening? But I also didn't know what's happening. I just know people are running, and I was running too. And now I remember, like, when I was running, I was trying to look around and, try to get a compass of where I would go, because now in my mind, Gidi now got into the office and locked himself. Dan has gotten into the car and he's driving it off, and Ahmed has run into the cafeteria. So where do I run to? So I ran. So I was running. So Nancy is also asking me, what is it? What is it? The driver is trying to ask me, what is it? What is it? Everybody's just like, so there was like a little bit of chaos. So when I got to almost to the end of the petrol station, now when I was trying to think, now which way do I go? Like, where, I don't know where the danger is, but I'm just running, but I don't know which way to go. And then when I'm standing there, just all at the same time, the same split of a second, I saw Gidi get out from the office wearing his sweater. And then Dan parked the car at the parking lot now, and he was getting off the vehicle. And then Ahmed was now coming back from the cafeteria. So when people are still asking, what's happening? For me, I was running because these three men were running. So apparently, Gidi had felt cold and he had gone to the office to get his sweater. Dan was running towards the matatu because that driver had parked in the middle of the pump, so other vehicles could not access the pump. So he had run to get the vehicle from that position to the parking lot so that another car would come in. Ahmed had ran to the cafeteria to get his phone because it was ringing, and one of the waitresses had called him to go and get the phone. So I was the only one who was running without a reason. But in my mind, what I knew was that we have been attacked. Yeah, the Al-Shabaab are here, we are being attacked. It was embarrassing, to say the least. It was really embarrassing, because, like, how do you explain? Everybody else had a reason why they were doing what they were doing, apart from me. I was responding from fear of unknown. I didn't even know what an Al-Shabaab was. I didn't even know anything. I was just running because I was running. People were running. So you see how embarrassing it was. So I learned a huge lesson from that. Like, what can fear do to you? Fear will embarrass you. Fear will make you be a fool. Because when you look at it, what exactly are you afraid of? What exactly are you afraid of? A friend of mine once told me a story about a certain man in his village who was so scared of buffaloes. Who was so scared of buffaloes. And there was one buffalo which had gotten out of the reserve, of the game reserve. And this man was so scared of the buffalo that before he left his house, he used to send someone out to go and check if the buffalo was around. He used to leave the house late, like when the sun is all up, and he would come back very early before dark so that he could be able to spot it, so that he could make sure that the buffalo does not kill him, does not hurt him, does not harm him in any way. And he lived like that for a while until the day the buffalo was killed. And the day the buffalo was killed, he was so excited, and he made sure that he went and saw the buffalo, the dead buffalo, like to confirm that now he can live his life freely without the fear of the buffalo. So he went, and sure as it is, the buffalo was dead. And he went, and he was on top of the buffalo, he was walking on it, and then he slipped. His foot slipped, and he fell on the horn of the buffalo. And the horn of the buffalo got into his stomach and killed him. And that story also got me to thinking, whatever way you are supposed to die, that is the same way, that is the way you are supposed to die. Because what fear does is scare us out of living our life fully and making us live substandard lives, because we fear most of the time to die, we fear most of the time to be hurt. But you cannot protect, whatever is supposed to happen will happen. Yes, you need to be careful about the things that you're doing, but sometimes this fear will limit you. Fear limits everyone. You cannot live your life to the fullest as long as you have fear in your heart. Fear will limit you. Fear will stop you from getting out of certain negative situations, because you ask yourself, so when I live here, what will happen to me? How will I survive? That is fear. But when you really, really look into the eyes of fear, you will find that there's actually nothing to fear. Same as me running away from non-existent Al-Shabaabs. The Al-Shabaabs are not there. So what are you afraid of? And why are you afraid of it? When you really look into it, why are you afraid of it? If it is a situation and you feel like if I get out of this situation, I will not be able maybe to fulfill my basic needs or to take care of my material things. Who provides these things? Isn't it God who provides? So it's time to face your fears. Look at whatever you're afraid to do. Just look at it keenly and say why. Why do you fear doing what you feel you should do? Why are you afraid of applying for that job? The worst they can say is no, and you will not die. Why are you afraid of starting that project? Yes, it might fail, but you will learn something. And at least you'll have that feeling that you did it. Fear will limit you from experiencing life as a whole. Most of the people who were on their deathbed, when they were asked, what do you regret the most? Most of them regretted the things they did not do more than the things that they did. So, what is it that you want to do that you are afraid of? It could be nothing. I was running away from nothing. Do you want to start a new job? Do you want to start a business? Just start. What's the worst that can happen? Yes, it might not succeed your way, because, everyone wants the business to succeed and make money. But you might not make money, but you will get a lesson, an experience. Just do it. If it's moving to a different place, move. What is the worst that can happen? Fear is just that. It's just a word. Do what you want to do. You will come out with an experience. Let the world teach you. There are things that are in our hearts that keep pushing us to do more, but there's that fear. Just look at the fear in the eyes and ask it, what do you want? Why are you here? What is the worst in a situation when you do what you want to do? What is the worst that can happen? Because if it is money, people the same way you made the money or you got the money, you can still get money. It's all material. What are you so scared? What are you scared about? Look fear in the eyes and face it. Ask it. What do you want? And why are you here? And maybe, just maybe, you'll realize there's nothing to fear. You'll be like me, running away from non-existent things. The point today was to face our fears, look at them, and try to understand or see through them. And most of the time you realize there is nothing there. What is the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is death, and all of us no one is getting out of here alive. Don't be careless, but don't let fear hold you back. Just look at it and question it. Ask it. Talk to it. What is the worst that can happen? Anyway, thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next episode.